You can cook a beer can chicken in the oven, in a pellet grill, in an offset smoker. No matter which way you cook it, it's delicious. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make one. We have a whole, fresh, young chicken here. Got it at Costco. I'm gonna remove this. I like to use a pan, catch all the juices. Okay, throw this out. This is gonna get a little bit messy, so I'm gonna glove up while we prep this chicken. I always like to use gloves. It keeps everything nice and sanitary. Keeps any bacterias off of your hands, especially if you have cuts on your hands. I'm going to take a couple paper towels and just pat this chicken dry. Now we actually need the inside of this cavity cleared out. So make sure if your chicken has any giblets in it or anything, get all those out of there. We won't be needing them. Make sure you have a nice, clear, open cavity. This way we can put it over the beer can. Now I'm just going to take one glove off so I can get access to my seasoning here. I don't want to get any of that nasty stuff on my seasoning bottle. I'll be seasoning this today with Weber's Beer Can Chicken Rub. Now this smells great. I haven't used it yet, but we're going to see how good it is. I'm going to season this pretty liberally. Make sure I pat it in. When this skin gets nice and crispy with this seasoning on there, it's going to taste delicious. Flip this over. We love our seasonings here. Seasonings are flavor. Oh, this just smells delicious already. Go ahead and flip your bird over. Make sure your breast side stays nice and seasoned. Now go ahead and get your grill turned on to 225. Let this preheat and we're gonna get our chicken onto our can. Now this little device that I have here, this basically just makes it a little bit easier to actually keep the chicken stable and upright inside of the grill. I picked this up for about $5 at my local hardware store. You can find them all over Amazon. I'll even link it in the description. The beer you use doesn't really matter. Use your own discretion, use your favorite, doesn't matter. I wanted to actually use this to show you that some of these holders won't actually hold the tall boy cans. So I had to go with this Coors Light. Fits right in beautifully. Now the most important step is that you want to leave a little more than half a can of the beer, so drink it up. I don't recommend you dump out, that's wasting it. Drink half of it. This way it leaves some room for evaporation inside. Now what I love about beer can chicken is how simple the prep is. You don't really have to do much or go too crazy. You can brine it or inject it if you want to. That would only enhance the flavors even more. But today, we're going bare bones basic, throwing that seasoning on it, getting it in the smoker. Go ahead and place down your beer can holder and your can. Grab your bird, place it right over the can. Make sure it's on there good. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. On the pellet grill, I like to start it off for about an hour at 225. It'll produce a little bit more smoke in there. We really want to take that smoke flavor into our bird. After about an hour, we'll crank up the heat, 325, 350, until the internal temperature in the breast reaches 165. Now you'll notice you're gonna have a little hole in the top of this chicken here. You can plug it up with a piece of onion, cut it up like this, or even a potato. I do recommend doing this because any of that beer that does evaporate, you wanna make sure it gets trapped in there and actually stays rather than just releasing out of the top. Let's see if we can jam this in here. There we go. That's just gonna plug that up. That'll help keep the evaporated beer inside of the actual chicken. So I know this is a bit of a tight fit in this grill here. Make sure that if you do use the can holder, you do have the clearance inside of your grill for this. I'll shut that. Now that your chicken's in, set your timer for 1 hour, go wash your dishes, drink a beer, hang out, and we'll meet back at the grill when the time's up. All right, guys, I'm back out here. It's been 1 hour. Time to add our temperature probe and crank our grill up to 350. Let's take a look, see how she's looking. Nice. Starting to get some color on the actual chicken. Let's crank this temperature up, 350. If you're doing this in the oven, it's going to be the same process. We're going to be using our Inkbird like usual. We're going to probe this right in the breast. Try to keep it in the thickest part of the meat. Again, monitoring your temperatures is super important. Now I notice here that this side is cooking a little bit faster than this side, and my assumption is because the heat diffuser plate down here is a little bit closer to the meat than it is over here. It goes on a slope. So what I'm going to do, I'm at an internal of 107. I'm just going to give this a turn around. Want to make sure this cooks evenly. The chicken now reached an internal of 165 at our main probe, right in the breast. I'm going to also poke around with an instant read. Make sure everything reads above 165. This way we know that our chicken is safe to eat. All right, let's poke this around. We'll check the other breast. It's reading 165. Check down in the leg. Away from the bone. That's perfect. All right, let's pull this off and get her carved up. Be careful when removing your chicken. This is obviously going to be pretty hot. If you have some cotton-lined gloves on top of these rubber gloves, be even better. Probe out of there. Pick up the chicken. Bring it over. Now it can be a little difficult getting your chicken off of the beer can. Sometimes it tends to stick. You want to just be super careful here. Okay, the beer can stayed inside. Let's see. Won't be needing these anymore. Let's cut right into this bad boy. Cut right down through the breast. And just ride it along the edge. You'll be able to cut this right off. It's a little difficult because it's very hot. Try to get as much of that meat out when you cut your breast off as possible. Again, it's really hard because it's really hot. So push this to the side. Cut the rest of that up later. Let's get a couple of slices going. The skin came out super crispy and the meat is just extremely juicy. All right, guys, you already know we have to give this a try. The juices are just dripping out of this chicken. Wow. Phenomenal. That is one of the juiciest pieces of chicken I've ever had. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If I helped you in any way at all today, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe.